Part 2, Section 5, Reimagining the Role of Extension. Traditional extension approach in the livestock sector have largely focused on awareness creation, training, and capacity building. While these activities are important, they often stop at the level of knowledge transfer without ensuring that this knowledge translates into tangible economic benefits. As a result, communities may gain information but remain disconnected from markets and income generating opportunities. This model redefines the role of extension by extending its function beyond knowledge dissemination to include business activation and market integration. The objective is to ensure that knowledge and skills are converted into viable enterprise that generate income and contribute to economic growth. In this context, the association or NGO and extension provider serves as bridge between communities, professionals, and the markets, facilitating the flow of information, resources, and opportunities. It becomes not just a service provider, but a catalyst for transformation. Section 8, the livestock ecosystem approach. To effectively address the challenges of the livestock sector, the association or NGO adopts an ecosystem approach that brings together professionals from diverse but interconnected fields. This includes veterinary science, feed production, dairy, poultry, apiculture, fishery, hide and skin processing, and quality assurance. By organizing these professionals into structured networks, the organization creates a platform for continuous learning, innovation, and collaborations. A key principle of this approach is the concept of continuous engagement, where professionals are actively involved in problem solving, knowledge sharing, and system improvement on an ongoing basis. This goes beyond periodic workshops or training sections and establishes a dynamic environment where ideas and solutions can evolve in real time. Such an ecosystem enhances the organization's ability to respond to emerging challenges and adapt to changing conditions. Section 9, Inclusivity Gap in High Value Livestock Business and Systemic Exclusion. One of the most critical but often overlooked structural problems in the livestock sector is the systematic exclusion of farmers and pastoralists from high value segments of the value chain. While these groups are the primary producers and custodians of livestock resources, their participation is largely confined to low return activities such as raw animal production. In contrast, the most profitable segments such as import and export trade, processing, value addition, branding, packaging, and formal market distributions are dominated by a limited number of actors, often urban-based businesses or intermediaries. This imbalance creates structural inequality within the livestock economy. Farmers and pastoralists, despite contributing the foundational input, capture only a small fraction of the total value generated across the chain. The majority of profits are concentrated downstream, where access to capital, information networks, and regulatory systems is required. As a result, producers remain trapped in a subsistence or semi-commercial systems with limited ability to scale or improve their livelihoods. Nature of the exclusion. The exclusion of farmers and pastoralists from high-value business sectors is not accidental. It is driven by several systemic barriers. First, there is a significant information asymmetry, where producers lack access to market intelligence, pricing mechanisms, export standards, and business opportunities. Second, limited access to finance and investment capital prevents them from entering capital-intensive segments such as processing or export. Third, there are institutional and regulatory barriers, including licensing requirements, quality standards, and compliance procedures, which are often difficult for smallholders to navigate without support. Fourth, weak organizational structures among producers limit their bargaining power and ability to engage collectively in higher value markets. Finally, market systems are not designed inclusively often favoring established actors with existing networks and infrastructures. Consequence of exclusion. The consequences of this exclusion are far-reaching at the household level. The results in low income, limited economic mobility, and vulnerability to market shocks. At the sector level, it leads to inefficiencies, underutilization of resources, and slow growth. At the national level, it constrains the livestock sector contribution to GDP and reduces its potential to generate employment and foreign exchange earnings. Moreover, exclusion discourages innovation and investment at the production level. When farmers and pastoralists don't see clear economic returns, they have little incentive to adopt improved practices or technologies. This perpetuates a cycle of low productivity and limited commercialization. Strategic response of the three entity model. The proposed three-entity model directly addresses this structural exclusion by creating pathways for inclusive participation in high-value business segments. Each entity plays a specific role in dismantling the barriers that prevent farmers and pastoralists from moving up the value chain. The association or NGO entity focuses on capacity building, awareness creation, and institutional strengthening, ensuring that producers understand market opportunities and develop the skills required to participate. It also advocates for more inclusive policies and facilitate partnerships that open access to high-value sectors. The extension entity acts as a bridge between producers and markets, providing real-time information, technical advisory services, and market linkage. It ensures that farmers and pastoralists are not only informed but also supported in meeting quality standards, complying with regulations, and connecting with buyers and investors. The business entity plays the most direct role in inclusion by integrating farmers and pastoralists into commercial operations. This this can take multiple forms, including contract farming arrangements, outgrower schemes, cooperative-based processing units, joint ventures, and franchise models. Through these mechanisms, producers are not treated merely as suppliers, but as active participants and partners in value creations. Inclusion in high-value segments. A key objective of the model is to ensure that farmers and pastoralists gain access in high-value business areas such as import and export markets, livestock product processing, value addition, packaging, branding, quality certification, domestic and international market distribution. This transition requires deliberate system design. It is not sufficient to encourage participation. The system must actively remove barriers, provide support, and create structured entry points. This includes facilitating access to finance, building collective organizations, and establishing partnership with private sector actors. Transforming producers into market actors. One of the most transformative aspects of this approach is the shift in perception of farmers and pastoralists from passive beneficiaries to active economic actors. By enabling their participation in high-value segments, the model promotes ownership of the economic activities, increased bargaining power, long-term income growth. The transformation also contributes to broader development outcomes, including poverty reduction, gender equity, and youth employment, ensuring equity and fair value distribution. Inclusivity is not only about participation, but also about fair distribution of value. The model emphasizes transparency, equitable partnerships, and mechanisms that ensure producers receive a fair share of the profits generated along the value chain. This includes fair pricing systems, transparent contracts, collective bargaining through cooperative or associations. By addressing both access and equity, the model ensures that inclusion translates into meaningful economic benefits. The exclusion of farmers and pastoralists from high-value livestock business sectors is a fundamental constraint that limits the sector potential. Addressing this issue is not optional, it is essential for achieving sustainable and inclusive transformation. The three-entity model provides a comprehensive and practical framework for overcoming this challenge by aligning capacity building, knowledge system, and market integration. By creating pathways for inclusive participation, the model ensures that those who form the backbone of the livestock sector are no longer confined to its margins but are positioned at the center of its growth and prosperity.